The ancient sword on the far edge of the galaxy. There was a planet no one wanted to visit. It was called KHRON-9. The planet looked dead. The sky was dark purple. The land was broken and cold. No trees, no oceans, no life, but the galaxy knew one thing. Something powerful was hidden there. At the center of the planet stood an ancient sword. The sword was massive. Its blade was black and silver. Strange symbols glowed faintly on its surface. The sword was stuck inside a stone. For thousands of years, no one knew who made it. No one knew why it was there. But everyone knew one rule. No alien could lift it. Many alien races tried. The strongest warriors came first. Giant beings made of stone. Metal warriors with machine arms. Energy creatures without bodies. They pulled the sword with all their strength. Nothing happened. Some used advanced technology, gravity machines, power fields, ancient codes. The sword did not move. Many died trying. Some planets went to war because of it. Soon, the sword became a legend, a warning. The Galactic Council finally made a decision. The planet was forbidden. No ships allowed. No missions allowed. No one was allowed to touch the sword again. But legends do not die. They wait. One day, a small ship entered the Charon 9 system. It was not a warship. Not a royal ship. It was a human exploration ship. The ship was damaged. Its navigation system was broken. The pilot did not plan to come here. The ship landed near the ancient ruins. Smoke came out of the engines. The human stepped outside. His name was Ethan Cross. He was not a soldier. Not a hero. Just an explorer. Ethan looked around slowly. This place feels old, he said quietly. He felt something strange in the air, like the planet was watching him. Far away. Hidden alien sensors detected the ship. Within minutes, alien guards arrived. They surrounded Ethan. Tall, armored, powerful. One alien stepped forward. "This planet is forbidden," the alien said. "Leave immediately." Ethan raised his hands. "My ship is broken," he said calmly. "I did not know this place was forbidden." The alien studied him, a human. Weak, small, soft. They laughed. "A human?" one alien said. "This planet destroys kings." Ethan noticed their fear. Not anger. Fear. They escorted him to the center of the ruins. That was when Ethan saw it. The sword. Even from far away, it felt heavy. Not in weight. In presence. The air around it felt silent. No wind. No sound, just the sword. Ethan stopped walking. "What is that?" he asked. The aliens became serious. "That is the ancient sword," the leader said. "It judges all who touch it." Ethan looked at the stone. The sword was stuck deep. Many marks surrounded it. Burn marks. Broken ground. Old blood stains. "This sword ended wars," the alien said. "It destroyed civilizations. No one can lift it." Ethan moved closer. The aliens blocked his path. "Do not go near it," the leader warned. "The sword does not forgive." Ethan did not feel fear. He felt curiosity. He studied the symbols. They were not random. They looked familiar. Almost human. That made no sense. The alien guards whispered. "Why is the sword reacting?" One asked. The symbols glowed slightly brighter. The ground trembled. Just a little. Ethan felt a warm feeling in his chest, like the sword was calling him. Not with words. With silence. "You are a human," the leader said sharply. "You will fail, like all others." Ethan nodded. "I am not here to rule," he said. "I just want to understand." The aliens did not understand those words. Power always wanted power. That was their belief. Slowly, Ethan stepped forward. Every alien weapon activated. Energy fields surrounded the sword. The planet seemed to hold its breath. Ethan reached out his hand. The sword glowed brighter. The stone cracked slightly. The alien leader's eyes widened. "That is impossible," he whispered. Ethan's fingers were inches away. The air. Vibratted. The symbols shined white, for the first time in thousands of years. The sword responded. The sword that was never meant for them. The ancient sword did not move, but the planet did. A deep sound came from under the ground. Not loud, not violent. It sounded like a heartbeat. The alien guards stepped back. They had heard stories, but they had never heard this. The sword was awake. Ethan froze. He did not touch the sword yet. Still. The symbols on the blade glowed brighter. White light flowed across the metal, like living energy. The air felt heavy. The alien leader raised his hand. All units. Defensive mode, he ordered. Energy shields formed instantly. Weapons pointed at Ethan. But the sword did not react to them. It reacted only to the human. This has never happened before. An alien whispered. For thousands of years. Nothing. The leader's voice was tense. Human, he said. Step away slowly. Ethan did not move. Not because he was brave, because something inside him said wait. The sword was not calling his body, it was calling his mind. Ethan closed his eyes for a moment. Images flashed in his head. Not memories, not dreams, visions. He saw stars being born. He saw planets burning. He saw ancient beings shaping metal with energy and thought, and among them, humans. Not modern humans, older, wiser, stronger in a quiet way. Ethan gasped and opened his eyes. What is this place? He asked. The alien leader looked away. This is where empires ended, he said, long ago. The galaxy was ruled by warrior races. They believed only in strength. They conquered planets. They enslaved weaker species. The sword was created during that age, not as a weapon, but as a test. The sword judges intent, the leader said slowly. Not power. Ethan looked at him. Then why did so many try to take it? Ethan asked. The alien leader's eyes darkened. Because power blinds even the wise. One alien guard became angry. This is pointless, he growled. He is weak. The guard stepped forward and grabbed the sword. The reaction was instant. The light turned red. The ground cracked. Shockwave threw the guard back. His armor melted. He did not move again. Silence filled the ruins. Ethan stared in shock. The aliens lowered their heads. That is why the planet is forbidden, the leader said quietly. Ethan's heart raced. He understood. Now the sword was not dangerous. People were. The symbols changed again. This time. They slowed. The red light faded. The white glow returned. The sword ignored the dead alien. It focused on Ethan. You should be dead. An alien whispered. Ethan shook his head. I don't want the sword, he said softly. The aliens turned to him. Confused. Double quotes. No one comes here without desire, the leader said. Ethan answered honestly. I came here by accident. That truth mattered. The ground stopped shaking. The air became calm. The sword's glow softened. Almost gentle. The leader stepped closer. What are humans? He asked. Ethan thought. We fail, he said. We fight. We destroy. He paused. But we also stop ourselves. Sometimes. The aliens did not understand that. To them, power was everything. The sword reacted again. A low hum filled the ruins. The stone holding the blade showed tiny cracks. Not breaking. Opening. Ethan felt fear now. Not of dying, but of being chosen. He took a step back. I am not a king, he said. I am not a leader. The sword did not care. It had waited too long. The alien leader's voice shook. If the sword accepts a human, he said, the balance of the galaxy will change. Ethan looked at the blade. I don't want that responsibility. The sword glowed brighter. The planet responded. Old machines awakened under the surface. Ancient systems powered on. The ruins lit up with forgotten energy. This place was not dead. It was sleeping. The alien guards slowly knelt. Not by command, not by instinct. They felt it. History was moving. Ethan stood alone in front of the sword. His hand trembled. The blade hummed louder. The cracks in the stone widened. The sword was ready. The secret the sword was hiding. The sword did not move. Not yet, but something inside it had woken. Ethan stood there, watching the white glow pulse like a heartbeat. The alien guards were frozen. Even the leader, who had seen thousands of battles, could not move. No one knew what would happen next. Ethan felt a strange warmth in his hand, even though he had not touched the sword. It was calling, not for his strength, not for his skill, but for his mind. He remembered the visions from before. Humans, ancient humans, creators of something powerful. But this sword, it was not made to be lifted. It was made to judge. Now it was judging him. The alien leader spoke almost in a whisper. Do you see? None of us can understand it. We can only feel fear. Humans, perhaps you are different. Ethan tilted his head. Different? How? The leader's eyes darkened. Because you do not crave power. You do not seek to rule. Every warrior who failed wanted the sword for themselves. They thought strength would be enough. The sword does not reward strength. It rewards choice. Ethan's mind raced. Choice? What choice could a sword ask of him? He looked at the aliens. The prideful warriors, the leaders of mighty fleets, all kneeling in fear. This was not the first time civilizations had bowed to the sword. But humans, they were unexpected. No one believed humans could even reach this far. And yet, here he. A crack appeared in the stone. It was small, almost unnoticeable. But it spread quickly, running like lightning across the surface. The sword hummed. A low, deep sound, almost like a whisper in the mind. Ethan's heart thumped. It's not ready, he thought. But it's waiting for me. He stepped closer. The glow responded, growing brighter with every step. The air itself seemed alive. He felt a strange presence, like the planet itself was watching. Suddenly, the visions returned. Not images this time. Not history. They were warnings. He saw empires fall, planets burned, species wiped out. All because beings had lifted the sword. Without understanding it, the sword did not judge failure. It judged intent. Ethan remembered his own life. He had always sought knowledge, not power. He had always solved problems with thought, not force. The sword recognized this. It had waited for someone like him. The alien leader spoke again, this time louder. You may survive where all others died. Because you think differently. Ethan nodded slowly. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to take what it doesn't belong to me. The sword pulsed stronger, like it was approving. The cracks in the stone spread further. A faint wind rose, even though the planet had no air. The symbols shimmered with meaning. Ethan realized something. The sword was not a weapon. It was a mirror. It showed the truth of anyone who approached it. Every lie, every desire, every fear. The aliens had failed because they were blinded by pride. He had succeeded so far because he had none of that. One of the alien guards, braver than the others, stepped forward. I will take it, he shouted. The sword reacted instantly. Red light shot out. The ground shook violently. The guard screamed. As his energy shield melted away, he collapsed. Silence returned. Ethan's pulse raced. He had not touched it yet, and nothing had happened to him. The sword tested the heart, not the hand. And his heart was clear. The alien leader approached Ethan. You do not seek power, he said. You do not desire glory. And yet, you are standing where kings have fallen. Ethan's gaze met the sword again. It seemed alive. Almost intelligent. He could feel its energy humming in his chest. It was waiting for a decision. A sudden thought hit him. If he lifted it, the galaxy would change. The aliens would fear humans. Wars could begin. Power could corrupt even him. Ethan stepped back. "I am not ready," he said quietly. "I don't want to rule. I only want to understand." The sword pulsed again. Not angry, not disappointed. It was curious, the alien leader's voice. Softened. "Perhaps that is the true strength of your kind," he said. "Not power, but choice." Ethan nodded. He had no idea what would happen next. But he felt something rare, respect. The sword shimmered once more. The air vibrated. The stone trembled, and the planet seemed to hold its breath. The human touch. Ethan did not move closer. He had watched centuries of history flash before him. He had seen empires rise and fall. He had seen warriors die because of their pride. But now, the sword was a live dot. It pulsed with energy. The white glow grew brighter. The symbols carved on its blade shifted like water. The air was thick, humming with power. Ethan felt a strange pull in his chest. It was not fear. It was recognition. "It knows me," he thought. The alien leader stepped forward, voice trembling. "Do you see? None of us, none, could ever survive this, and yet you stand here." Ethan looked at the sword again. The stone beneath it was cracking. Small pieces floated as if gravity had changed. He could feel the planet itself responding to him. It was waiting. One alien guard whispered to another, voice shaking. "Why is it responding to him? It should destroy him." The other guard did not answer. They could not understand. They had never seen a human this calm. Ethan slowly reached out. His hand trembled slightly, but he did not hesitate. He placed his fingers lightly on the hilt. Nothing happened. Then a pulse ran through his arm, soft, warm, alive. The sword was not rejecting him. It was inviting him. The aliens gasped. They had never seen this. They had never imagined a human could touch it without dying. Ethan felt the energy in the sword spread through his body. Not pain, not fear. A strange clarity. He could see the planet differently now. The ruins, the stones, even the sky, everything seemed connected. The sword was part of it. And now, he was part of it. He pulled gently. The sword did not budge. But it did respond. The symbols on the blade glowed brighter. White light flowed over Ethan's hands, up his arms, across his chest. It was like the sword was testing him, measuring him, trusting him. The alien leader stepped closer. "Human, do you realize what you are doing?" he said. "You could destroy this entire planet with a wrong move. You could awaken powers beyond your understanding." Ethan nodded. "I know," he said softly. "But I am not here to rule. I am here to learn." The leader's eyes widened. No one had ever approached the sword with such honesty. The ground shook. Not violently, not destructively, just alive. The stone split more. The sword lifted slightly. Only a few inches. But enough. For thousands of years, no being had ever moved it an inch. Ethan felt the weight, not with his muscles, but with his mind. The sword's energy flowed into him. It was heavy, but not in a way that could crush. It was heavy with history, heavy with choices. The alien guard who had survived the previous test stepped back. You are not like us," he whispered. Ethan smiled faintly. "I think humans see the world differently. We are not always the strongest, but sometimes we are the wisest." The sword responded again. It rose a little higher. The glow intensified. It seemed to recognize Ethan as worthy, but cautious. The planet itself reacted. A soft wind blew through the ruins. Dust and stones floated gently, lifted by invisible energy. The sword's hum became a melody, almost musical. Ethan realized this power was not made to conquer. It was made to teach, guide, and judge. The alien leader knelt. He could not stop himself. All his life, he had sought power. And yet, here was a human, a small, fragile human, standing where kings had failed. The leader's voice shook. Perhaps. Humans are not to be feared, but respected. Ethan felt the final test coming. He had moved the sword slightly. But could he take more? Could he claim it for himself? Or would he return it and leave the galaxy as it was? He thought of his home, of Earth, of humans not as conquerors, but as observers. He realized the sword wanted more than strength, it wanted understanding. He gently placed the sword back, but instead of sinking into the stone, it hovered slightly above the cracked surface. The glow softened. The energy pulsed like a heartbeat, steady, calm, alive. The sword had accepted him, not as a ruler, not as a warrior, as a human. The sword chooses the human. The sword hung in the air, not in the stone, not on the ground, just floating. The white glow was no longer soft. It shone like a star in the dark ruins of Kharon-9. The planet trembled slightly, as if it were breathing. Stared, hand still hovering near the hilt. For a moment, he felt the weight of all history pressing on him. This was not a weapon. It was a living test, and it had chosen him. The alien leader fell to his knees. Impossible, he whispered. No one, not one of us, could ever move it. Ethan looked at him calmly. He did not feel pride. He did not feel power. Only clarity. The sword responded to thought, to understanding, to balance. The symbols on the blade shifted again. Not random light. Now a message was visible. It was ancient, older than any alien race present. Only those who see without greed may wield me. The aliens gasped. Greed. All those who had failed, all those who had tried to lift it for glory or conquest, they had been blind. Ethan's eyes widened. He realized the sword had not just tested strength, it had tested intent, and he had none. The sword lifted higher, slowly, steadily, until it hovered completely free. It was weightless in the air, yet Ethan could feel it. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought resonated with the blade. He realized the truth. This sword was not made to fight. It was made to measure the soul. The alien guards shivered. They had seen unimaginable power. They had fought wars that spanned galaxies. But nothing had prepared them for this. It has accepted him, one said. Why a human? The leader's voice trembled. Because humans, sometimes, do not seek what others crave. Ethan's hand hovered near the hilt. He thought of Earth, of his people, of humans not as conquerors, but as learners. The sword pulsed brighter, almost impatiently. It wanted him to choose, not to lift it for power, not to destroy or rule, but to decide the next step. The aliens watched, mouths open. They realized something that shook them to the core. Strength alone does not make a leader. Technology alone does not make a ruler. Even knowledge alone does not make one supreme, but a mind that weighs choices, that sees beyond pride and greed. That was something the sword recognized as rare. Humans. Ethan exhaled. He felt the sword's energy wrap around him, not to hurt, not to dominate, but to connect. It was teaching him. It was showing him the burden of power and the beauty of restraint. He looked at the alien leader. We do not need to claim everything, he said. We do not need to conquer. We only need to understand. The leader did not argue. He could not. The truth in the human's words was stronger than any army. The sword hummed louder. Symbols shimmered. The glow spread outward, touching the ruins, the air, even the sky above. The planet itself seemed to bend toward Ethan, bowing to the right choice. For the first time, the aliens saw something they could never achieve with strength, skill, or war. Humans were small, weak, fragile. But their decision, their restraint, their thought, that was power. The sword had chosen the human, not because of force, but because of understanding. Ethan slowly pulled the sword. back toward the stone. Not to sink it, not to claim it, but to return it safely. The sword paused mid-air. It seemed to hesitate. Then, with a soft hum, it allowed itself to be guided gently. The aliens held their breath. This human had done what no alien could. Not by strength, not by weapons, but by wisdom. The sword finally rested. Half lifted from the stone, glowing, Ethan stepped back. He did not smile. He did not boast. He simply stood, quiet, human. The alien leader approached him. No one could ever do this. You are something different, he said softly. Ethan nodded. I am not special. I am just human. The sword pulsed softly. The planet seemed to sigh. And somewhere, deep within the ruins, something ancient stirred. The galaxy would remember this day. Not because of war, not because of power, but because a human had shown the meaning of choice. Fear of humanity. The ruins of Karen 9 were silent, not because the power had gone, because it was waiting. Sword pulsed softly, still hovering above the cracked stone. Its glow was calm now, but alive. It had recognized Ethan. It had chosen. And it had tested the galaxy itself. The alien leader stepped closer, eyes wide. Humans, he whispered. All this time, we thought we ruled the galaxy. And yet, one human, just one, has shown us something we cannot match. Ethan looked at him, calm, steady. We do not seek to match, he said. We only seek to understand. The aliens did not understand. They never had. The sword pulsed again, faster now. Images flashed through the ruins. Visions of the future. Ethan saw war. Planets burning. Armies clashing. Species wiped out. He also saw humans, not as conquerors, not as rulers. Humans stopping wars before they began. Humans helping planets survive. Humans changing the outcome not with strength, but with choice. The alien leader stared in disbelief. Why would a species so small, so weak, be capable of this? The sword answered in silence. Its hum was louder, like a voice in their minds. It was telling them the truth. Strength is not everything. Power is not everything. Choice, wisdom, and restraint. These are greater. The alien guards whispered among themselves. They could destroy us. They could end wars before we even start them. They are a threat we cannot fight. Ethan noticed. The aliens were afraid. Not of weapons, not of armies, but of the human mind. The sword pulsed brighter. White light stretched across the ruins. The energy from the planet flowed into Ethan, but it did not consume him. It showed him the truth of every species that had touched. The sword. All had failed. All had sought power. All had fallen, except humans. One alien guard finally spoke aloud, voice shaking. They respect nothing, yet they decide everything. The alien leader nodded slowly. They are small, fragile, but they think. They weigh the future before acting. Ethan realized something. This fear was not weakness. It was recognition. Humans were underestimated, always, and that underestimation gave them power no weapon could. The sword pulsed again. This time, the symbols on the blade formed shapes, visions of galaxies, of wars that could be avoided, of species saved because someone chose wisely. It was showing Ethan the responsibility he now carried. He could use the sword. He could lead. He could intervene, but he did not need to. He could simply teach the meaning of choice. The alien leader stepped closer, voice trembling. Human, your species. They are dangerous. Ethan smiled faintly. Dangerous? He asked. Not if we understand our limits. The leader shook his head. Dangerous, because you choose when to fight, and when not to. Your restraint makes you stronger than any of us. The sword pulsed one final time. It lifted slightly higher, glowing as if nodding in approval. Ethan took a deep breath. He had seen the future, he had seen the truth, and he had chosen not to conquer, not to take power, but to let the galaxy learn. The aliens watched, kneeling, shaken. For the first time, they realized a truth they could not fight. The human mind was a force they could never measure. Ethan stepped back. The sword floated gently above the stone, still glowing. The planet seemed calmer, the air lighter, the ruins alive with quiet energy. He turned to the alien leader. "Tell your people," he said quietly, "do not underestimate humans. We may be small, but we think in ways you cannot imagine." The leader bowed. The aliens looked at each other, fear and respect in their eyes. The sword pulsed once more, like a heartbeat. It was a warning. Not to Ethan, to the galaxy. Humans were not just survivors. They were thinkers, deciders, unseen, quiet, unpredictable. And that made them unstoppable. The choice that changed the galaxy. The ruins of Karun glowed softly under the sword's white light. The sword was no longer just an object, it was alive. It breathed with the energy of the planet. It hummed with the power of the galaxy itself. Ethan stood before it, calm, steady, human. The alien leader finally spoke, voice low and filled with awe. "You have done what none of us could, and yet you seek nothing." Ethan looked at him. "I am not here to rule," he said. "I am not here to destroy. I only wanted to understand and to learn." The leader's eyes widened. "You are more than we imagined." The sword pulsed gently, as if agreeing. Its glow stretched across the ruins, touching the cracked stones, the floating dust, even the dark sky above. It was showing the aliens a truth they could not ignore. Humans were different. Not stronger, not faster, not more powerful. They thought differently. They weighed consequences. They chose restraint over pride. The alien leader whispered to his guards. "All this time, we chased power. We thought it made us supreme. But this human, he carries a power we cannot measure." Ethan nodded slightly. "Power is meaningless if it destroys everything." The aliens did not understand. They had never considered restraint as strength. The sword pulsed again. A low hum filled the ruins. It was alive. It was teaching. Ethan realized he had a choice. He could take the sword. He could wield its power. He could claim dominion over planets, civilizations, entire systems. But he did not. Instead, he gently guided it back into the stone. Not fully, but carefully. The sword rested, hovering slightly, its glow steady. It had been tested. And it had accepted his choice. The aliens watched in stunned silence. The leader stepped forward. "You could have ruled us. You could have changed everything." Ethan shook his head. "True strength is knowing when to act, and when not to. The galaxy is not ready for me. Perhaps it never will be." The aliens looked at each other, fear and respect mixing in their eyes. They realized humans were not to be conquered, but respected, feared, and watched carefully. The planet itself seemed to respond. A soft wind blew through the ruins, lifting dust and broken stones. Ancient machines hummed quietly. The sword's glow spread like a heartbeat across the ruins. A signal of balance restored. Ethan turned to leave, glancing once more at the sword. It had accepted him. But it had also set a new law of the galaxy. Strength without wisdom is meaningless. Power without restraint is dangerous. Choice is the true measure of greatness. The alien leader bowed deeply. "Tell your people, humans are not to be underestimated. They may seem small. They may seem weak. But their minds, their choices, will change the galaxy." Ethan nodded. He did not boast. He did not shout. He simply walked back to his ship, carrying no power, No weapon, only understanding. As he lifted off from Karen 9, the aliens watched him leave. The sword pulsed one last time, a heartbeat of approval. The planet seemed alive again, not with war, but with quiet knowledge. Somewhere across the galaxy, civilizations would whisper legends. Not of battles won, or weapons taken, or empires conquered, but of a human who had lifted an ancient sword, not with strength, not with force, but with wisdom, choice, and restraint. Ethan looked at the stars ahead. The galaxy stretched infinitely before him. And he knew one thing: humans may be underestimated. They may be mocked, ignored, or overlooked. But when they acted in ways no one else could. They were small, but in thought, in choice, in spirit, they were unmatched. The sword remained behind, glowing softly in its stone, waiting for another century, another test, perhaps another human. But one thing was certain: the galaxy would never forget today. The day a human showed the meaning of true power.